This is the July 13th, 2023 Zoning Board of Adjustment regular meeting. My name is Matt Perry and I'm chair of the board. I will now call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll so that we may verify the presence of quorum.
Board members Wang and Grants Korsch will be absent this evening. Board member Callahan.
Present.
Hutchins.
Here.
Ingram.
Here.
Johannesson.
Aye.
Chair Perry.
Here.
Vice Chair Softly.
Here.
Smikarova. We have 6 members present.
And so we have quorum, and with that, we'll proceed to our agenda, a copy of which was posted for public access to the city's legislative information management system, available at LIMS, lims.minneapolis.mn.gov. Is there a motion to approve this agenda?
So moved.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against indicate by saying nay. And that motion passes and the agenda is approved. I believe all the board members have seen a copy of the minutes from the June 22nd, 2023 Zoning Board of Adjustment meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? If you are not here, please abstain.
Hutchins abstain.
And that motion passes. The minutes from the Zoning Board of Adjustment June 22nd, 2023 meeting are approved. Mr. Ellis, are there any communications or petitions?
Chair Perry, members of the board, I have 2 communications this evening. One is that the code development team is hoping to come to the next meeting, July 27th, to give a kind of broad overview of some of the points that the board might find most pertinent to changes that were adopted with our land use rezoning study that went into effect July 1st. Just to try to talk about some of the changes maybe to required yards, things like that, that most often come up before the Board of Adjustment. That it's flexible, it depends on the timing on that. It may push into August, but right now they're going for that July 27th date. And then the second communication.
Excuse me, before you get on to the second, is there some way that we can make sure that we're not dealing with a packed agenda and that at the same time?
Chair Perry, yes, that is one of the first things Mr. Wittenberg asked. Currently, what we have 3 items for that, and so likely there would be a discussion. But I'm not sure about all 3 at this point.
Okay.
But there is one guaranteed discussion at this point.
Okay.
And so that's one of the ways. It would have been better maybe this evening, although given the disruptions of the evening, maybe it wouldn't have mattered as much. But that is certainly something of a concern for them as well. So
Thanks.
and then the second one is related to that, and one I just kind of want to bring up to the Board of Adjustment because you may see it before then. One tweak in the land use rezoning study is to finding number 1. It's not a substantive tweak, so it will not change the analysis of staff or would be expected by the board, but the word practical difficulties has been removed, and it is switching over to challenges exist in complying with the ordinance because of circumstances unique to the property. The unique circumstances were not created by persons presently having an interest in the property and are not based on economic considerations alone. So that challenges has been replaced practical difficulties, which has been moved up to the bulk part of the required findings or criteria, where a variance may be granted from the regulations of the zoning code only when the applicable board, commission, or council establishes that complying with the ordinance poses practical difficulties, making each of the following findings based upon the evidence presented to it in each specific case. So this is just to bring it in line with the verbiage at the state. And the state enabling legislation that allows for the variances. We had kind of put practical difficulties into a finding versus the findings can lead up to the practical difficulty that allows for the granting of the variance.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Ellis? Is that something that you can send out to the board, that new wording?
Chair Perry, yes, I can send that out.
Great.
As a note, once when the reports that have been deemed complete post July 1st, you will start seeing that in the report, that will be one of the findings, in our analysis, that verbiage will have changed in those reports. You'll notice in this evening's reports, the verbiage has not yet changed.
Yeah.
They were complete and technically reviewed under the prior code. However, again, the analysis would be the same regardless. So.
Okay. Thank you very much. Let's review the agenda. I'll read the agenda number and address of the project and state whether it's slated for consent or discussion. Consent items, these are items that will be passed without discussion by the board. We will be adhering to the staff recommendation found on your agenda under the items recommended motion section. Importantly, any applicable conditions will be listed in the same section. If you agree with this recommendation, including any applicable conditions, you need to do nothing and the board will pass it as recommended. After an item is passed on consent, you're free to leave the chambers. Please check in with a staff member assigned to that item if you have any questions following the decision. If you disagree with the recommendation, please indicate you'd like to speak against that item when I ask, and we'll put it on the discussion agenda. So let's look at our agenda items. We have two. It's agenda item number 5 is 5721 Clinton Avenue South. Staff is recommending this item for consent. Is there anyone here to speak against this item? And board members can pull these items too if they so desire. I see no one. Agenda item number 6 is 5725 Clinton Avenue South. Staff is recommending this item for consent. Is there anyone to speak against this item? I see no one. So let's review the items on the agenda for consent. They are items number 5 and 6. Is there a motion to adopt these items on consent?
So moved.
It's moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any against indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? That motion passes. And for those of you who are here for agenda item number 5 or number 6, your land use requests are approved. Good luck with your projects. Thanks for coming down and dealing with the fire alarm. Thank you very much. With that, unless there's any new or old business, and I see staff is saying there isn't, we've concluded all of our items on the agenda for this meeting. Our next meeting will be July 27th, 2023, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.